This is Jocko Podcast number 117 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Echo.
Good evening.
And we're doing a Q&A tonight. First one in a while. We've had a bunch of other guests and books and whatnot. So, Q&A. Let's go.
Cool. First question. Jocko, from 115, podcast number 115, as a leader, how best to respond to someone like Corporal Meyer when he brings up good questions in a brief that need to be addressed without derailing the brief and calling your competence/authority into question?
Okay, so what he's talking about is on podcast 115 with Dakota Meyer, which if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. It's long and it's very, I don't know, it's awesome. Anyways, in part of that podcast, Dakota is getting told how they're going to conduct this operation, and Dakota raises some points and says, what about this, what about that, and what about this other thing? Mm-hmm. And they don't listen to him. Mm-hmm. And so the question here is, if you're in charge, you're the leader, and you get someone that brings up these questions during a brief, during the plan that need to be addressed, how do you do it? How do you handle that properly? Okay, well, first of all, and the most important part of this is if you involve your team in the planning itself, you won't have these questions come up during the brief. They'll come up during the planning. Mm-hmm. So that's the ultimate and best way to solve this problem. You don't plan in a vacuum as the leader and then present the plan to the troops and expect that you're going to have the perfect plan. It was only your brain working on it. Mm-hmm. What about everyone else's brain? What about everyone else's perspective? They have experience and they have knowledge that you don't have. Mm-hmm. So if you involve them in the planning, then they ask you those questions early and you figure out what the right answers to those questions are. Mm-hmm. So that's how you solve the problem right there. Now, if it happens that for whatever reason you didn't have the opportunity to do that, or you didn't do it well enough, or whatever the case may be, and now you start getting questions on your plan while you're briefing, well, first of all, if they ask you questions that you don't have answers to, then that could indicate that you're wrong, actually. Mm-hmm. You could actually be wrong. Yeah. And not a lot of leaders like to feel that way, but you should actually be happy that someone on your team is pointing out something that is going to make the plan better as a whole. Mm. So there's that. And it's really easy. If you're in a brief and someone brings up a point that you didn't think of and it makes sense, well, then you can implement that into the plan. Okay? So that. Now, you might think that it hurts your authority, right? To say, hey, that's a good point, Echo. I didn't think of that. Let's implement. You might think or feel like that's going to make you look bad, but it's the opposite is actually true. If I go, no, Echo, hey, the plan's already completed. You weren't there for the planning, so just be quiet. That's the guy that no one respects. Yeah. That's the guy that's not looking good as a leader, and that's the person that's losing authority. So you don't look weak if you listen to members of the team, whether they're junior or senior. It also shows that you're incompetent because you missed a part. Obviously, the question is pertinent that they asked, or I should say, if the question is pertinent and it is a good point, then it shows that you missed an important angle of the plan. So, open your mind, put your ego in check, and incorporate it in there. Now, this can also happen if there's something that you know that you're right on, right? Something that you know that you're right on. If there's something like that, and this, maybe you get one particular individual that keeps pushing back, and you might have to, in those cases, say, you know what? Hey, Echo, let me talk to you after this brief is over, and I'll explain to you exactly why we're doing it this way. So that way it doesn't derail the brief, because it might take a longer explanation than you want to. For instance, the typical SEAL briefing was we try to keep it 50 minutes to an hour. So if you got to spend 8 minutes pulling up a different map and explaining some detail of the terrain to this guy that has a protest to what you're saying, you might say, hey, listen, when we get done with this brief, I'll pull you aside. Let me show you the terrain map, and you can see exactly why we're using this insertion route, or whatever the case may be. So you can do that if you have to. And even then, they might end up having a point that you didn't see, and then you can say, okay, well, I didn't see that, and now we have to give everyone a quick rebriefing on some change in the plan. But again, none of this will happen if you bring your subordinates in and you let them first of all, let them do the planning. That's ideal. Let them come up with a plan, or let Echo come up with a plan. I'm not coming up with a plan. You go come up with a plan. I'm going to check with you and make sure that the plan is going in the right direction. Make sure it's not totally off track.
Sure.
And then you'll incorporate all these things, and I'll have a better view of the plan. I can stand back and be the tactical genius, as we talk about in the book, Extreme Ownership. Like, that's how you do it. So that's the answer. Well, that at least is an answer.
Yeah.
Maybe other people have other answers.
Seems to make sense to me. Yeah, that's that hard. It's hard, right? When you it's one of those things you always got to be conscious of when you have a plan or whatever, and someone, for lack of a better term, pokes holes in it, and be like, "Hey, what about this? What about this?" And then you have those two elements that you got to keep in mind, where it's like the fact that it's your plan, and then the plan. You know, the effectiveness of the plan. You mean
your emotional attachment to the plan? Yeah. You got to keep the emotional attachment to the plan in check versus the actual effectiveness of the plan.
Yeah.
And people have a hard time doing that. And what's cool is once you break away from that mindset, then it's really easy just to be, and everyone just kind of knows, oh yeah, Jocko's, he's got an open mind, he'll listen to you.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone that has a closed mind, everyone goes, oh, you can't get anything by this guy.
Yeah.
He's just going to he doesn't even help to point things out because he won't listen. And then guess what? You're using one brain versus 20 brains.
Yeah.
And more important than the brain power, the perspective, the different perspectives. Because the guys on the ground and the guys with the technical knowledge and the tactical knowledge, they're going to know things that you don't know. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
You can't know everything that they know.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you shut down all those different perspectives, you're looking at something from one angle.
Yep.
And do you see the whole complete picture when you only look at something from one angle? No, you don't.
No, sir.
Use those other perspectives.
Yep.
Check.
Self-correcting machine.
Yes.
If you can let go of the ego, the taking it personal, the personal attachment.
When I was in the SEAL teams, I called it the emotional attachment to the plan.
Yeah.
Because I'd see these people come up with plans, and they would be so addicted to their own plan only because it was their own plan, not for any tactical or strategic or operational reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
They just liked it because they thought of it.
Yeah, that's natural.
Yeah, it's very natural.
Yeah.
And there's some element of benefit to that, right? Because if you're passionate about your plan and I'm passionate about my plan, as long as we can eventually come to compromise, then we've put forth the best idea. Because I don't want you to not be passionate about your plan while you're planning it. I want you to really come up with the best plan that you really believe in.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, you talk about poking holes, right? Poking holes in the plan. And we all know that it's very easy to sit back and poke holes in the plan. Yeah. And what I'm telling you to do as a leader is to absolutely do that. Yeah. Not be a jerk. No. And I'm talking as a leader. If I let you do the planning, then it's easy for me to sit back and poke holes in the plan, which is good. It's good because we're going to fill those holes.
Yeah.
Once I poke the holes, we're going to fill them, and we're going to know that they're taken care of. Also, as a leader, from a perspective point, you think, hey, Jocko really knows what's going on. He was able to find these holes in the plan. The real reason I was able to find them is just because I was not totally at minuscule detail with the plan. You were. Yep. I was up at altitude, relaxing, looking around.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't want to say cheating. It's not cheating, but
it is cheating. It is cheating. It is cheating. It's that much easier. It's so much easier to sit back and do it.
Yeah,
and let things go that way.
Like when you watch a movie and you have like some critique, the movie's outstanding, and then you have some critique. Yeah, they shouldn't have chose that guy for that role or whatever. Meanwhile, the movie is like groundbreaking, whatever. So it's easy to poke holes in the movie. Meanwhile, like when it's done, you're all like poking holes at the little imperfections. Do that all the time. Makes sense. I dig it.
Does that happen with your videos? Is that what I'm saying?
Probably.
Check.
Anyway, next question. We have been training Jiu Jitsu for 2 months now. We started actually rolling a few weeks ago from our knees on the mat. Like not starting from standing, basically. I've trained for and executed multiple marathons, completed a number of Tough Mudders, trained hard in CrossFit, hiked, biked, swam. And nothing compares to the total mental and physical exhaustion I feel after training Jiu Jitsu. How can I combat this? Time, train more, supplements, just suck it up. When I get home, I'm so beat, and the next morning I wake up feeling like I was hit by a bus. I know that feeling, by the way. despite the exhaustion and still sucking at it, it's super fun.
Okay, so that's the Jiu Jitsu.
That's the...
And okay, so there's a couple things here. Yes, it's going to take some time. You're going to have to train. You train more. Your body will become conditioned to it. That's probably number one. Number two is, and this is so hard for people to do, relax.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really hard for people to do, especially when you first start out. Mm-hmm. I realized that the way you get to a point when you start to relax is when when the capability of your technique surpasses the capability of your strength.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know that I can escape your choke attempt by holding your hand and pulling your thumb and pulling your arm off, and that's what I know, that's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. When I realize that I can use a technical escape of swimming my arm in and then placing my hips on the ground and then scooting away from your choke, I'll do that instead. Mm-hmm. But until we figure out the techniques, all we have is muscle. So the way you do is you just have to keep training and keep training. And you can try. Can people actually, when they try and relax, do they actually get? You tell me. So I always tell people, like, relax more. Like, someone will say, I just can't relax, and I'll be like, relax harder.
Yeah,
but it's so hard for people to relax because people say, oh, when I relax, I just get submitted.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but if you relax, you'll at least be aware of what's happening. And if you relax, you can think about the technical movement that you're supposed to do to escape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, just like how you said, though, if you don't know the move, you're just going to go with what you know, and it's going to be the spaz in one way or another. If a guy's on you,
is
like
spazzing
mounted,
ever effective?
Well,
because I'll go ahead and say yes.
Yes.
Sometimes I have to spaz, and Dean calls me out on that a lot.
Well, here's the thing.
Hey, no good defense, you just spazzing.
Well, but your spaz has a big, more than a sprinkle of technique in it, though. That's the thing.
True.
Like you, and I told you this one time, you know how, like, if you say, yeah, you're strong, and that's kind of an insult in jiu-jitsu, because it's like saying, yeah, you're strong, but you don't have technique. It's kind of like that's what you're implying. And I said this to you one time. I was like, you have, like, strength. You're strong. And you were like, not defensive, but you were like, no, I have technique or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I know that. And I was like, shoot, that sounded bad. I mean, you have technique. We already know that. You've been training for 25 million years and you have good technique. But with that technique is like a lot of strength in there. Like when you, there's like stuff. Oh yeah. When like, if I'll be in side control on top on you, and you have this, like, first off, your hands are in the correct spot just to begin with. Yeah. So that's to begin. And you can just kind of get your leg in real easy every single time. Like I can't stop it. And I'm not weak, but it's like the strength of that move is like, oh, it's unstoppable. And that's when I said it. I was like, you're like strong. When you do a technique, it's like, it's a strong technique.
Yeah. And I would say, though, there's a lot of, I would say it's probably 70% technique and 30% strength, which may confirm what you're saying. Yeah. That 30% strength is still more than if someone has 70% technique, but they have only 10% strength to back it up.
Yeah, fully. And even saying it's, 70% technique, 30% strength. I mean, that's going to vary from moment to moment, or experience to experience. So if you're spazzing, even that's going to be a spectrum. Like, how much strength did you use versus technique, kind of thing.
Yeah, because you can't spaz for a long time.
Nope.
Because then you'll just be tired and you'll just be gassed. Yeah. So
when I say you're strong, here's the thing. The fact is you're strong. Regardless if you have technique or not. You can lift a lot of weights. You're big. Try grab, like, I'll grab your wrist, and when you break the grip of the wrist, it's way more violent than the typical person. You're a strong person. So there's no denying that. I know it sounds like an insult or whatever. But nonetheless, back to the point. Yeah, if you have strength going in, before you gain all that technique over the years, just like how you said, that's what you're going to use. Yeah. So the key is here, I think, is to consciously, and it's not easy, consciously focus on the technique. Consciously, like, remember, okay, where am I? Am I in half guard right now? Because you know how, like, in the beginning, when you first learn the positions, you're like, half guard is real clear. Guard is real clear. When you start rolling around, you're halfway upside down. Maybe you're twisted. Maybe your arm's in the wrong spot across your body or something like that. You kind of don't remember, oh, wait, I'm in half guard right now. or I'm upside down, but I'm in, I'm on his back still or whatever. So it doesn't just stick in your mind what position you're in. But if you can do that, then it starts getting routine. So now after that, you can figure out, okay, am I safe here? Because that's why you spaz. That's why you can't relax, because you don't know if you're safe or not. So you're just trying to move and get out of there, or get that submission, hurry up before he does something.
You know where this applies to life? This applies to life when you're interacting with other people. And you start to, let's say you and I are having a disagreement about something.
Sure.
Right? And you start getting the upper hand on me. And instead of me trying to use a technique to get out, all I do is go, "That's stupid, Echo, you're dumb," or something like that, right? I just start interrupting you, cutting you off, raising my voice. I'm actually losing now. And I don't, but I'm relying on brute force as opposed to technique. Now, it could be also, like we talked about earlier, it could be that I'm wrong. And if instead of admitting that I'm wrong, or taking, like you're saying, relax and looking at the technique and saying, you know what, Echo has a point here that I can't debate against. He's right and I'm wrong. I need to admit that. Same thing if you came up with an idea for the plan and your idea was better than mine, or you had a point that I needed to bring into the plan, unless I can relax and actually pay attention, then I'm not going to be able to do that. So that's that's one of the many ways when I always talk about jiu-jitsu applying to life. This is another example of where, hey, if the argument starts to escalate and you're using brute force to get out of it, you're not winning. Just like you're not winning in jiu-jitsu. You're going to gas out and you're going to lose. Yeah. Don't use brute force.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even 30%. Well, maybe sometimes.
30%'s okay.
The other thing that's hard, and this, it's attached to what you're saying. Don't have death matches every time.
Yeah.
Right? Don't, like, you find a partner and just be like, okay, let's try and make sure that we're not using so much strength. I can roll with you or with Dean or with Andy or whoever for a long time. And it's we're sweating, we're tired, but we're not using all this strength. We're not walking off the mat with like burned out muscles. Yeah. It's more of a cardio, I would say, than a strength thing when you get to a higher level, because it's just movement. It's movement that's happening. You know when someone's going to accomplish something, and if you're going to fight it with muscle, you're going to end up losing. Yeah.
And it goes back to the time thing where I was asking, is it more time? And the answer is, yeah, it's more time. Because like you learn that. And again, like knowing where to be and where not to be, where you're safe and where you're not safe in jiu-jitsu is a big deal. So you know how, like, okay, let's say and I know this with you, because let's say if I pass your guard. Sorry, you let me pass your guard. I don't know. You don't spaz and like in a tournament where the guy's like really trying hard not to let you settle in guard. And so that's a different scenario, of course, but you never do that. It's like you get to a point past your guard. Once you kind of get there, you settle and you're kind of relaxing, because it seems like anyway that you're not in danger for a submission. So that's kind of really where the focus is. It's not the fact that, ooh, he passed my guard. Oh, no, that's terrible. It's not that. It's, okay, now what technique do I need to implement to keep myself safe? And the more you know about jiu-jitsu, the more you realize it doesn't take a huge amount of energy to implement that technique. It's usually just like an arm position, make sure his hip is like over there and not over here. And that's it. That's pretty much it. But if you don't know that, you're like, oh man, you're using your whole body to get out of there, kind of thing. And that's when
you're leaving no reserves in a military perspective. In the military, you're always supposed to keep your reserves as long as you can.
Oh yeah, you're just using it all
your
up.
Reserves trying to spaz out and get out of a dominant position. You're also attacking a dominant position. When you're spazzing to try and get out, you're just going crazy trying to get out of this confirmed position. I mean, across the side or the mount, those are positions that are really... Sure, there's a transitional time when you should definitely spaz to try and get out. Once that's surpassed, well, now you're just expending energy.
Yeah. So defense is already up.
Check your diet too. If you're like really sore and everything, make sure you're getting enough protein. Make sure you're getting enough fat. Make sure you're getting get some super krill or some joint warfare or both, because your body needs it. So just other things to try and put off that soreness and the pain.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all that twisting.
Yeah, there's definitely Well, yeah, it's hard on your joints.
Yeah. Yeah, not
Kind of.
hard.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
like
guess not
they get a
really.
workout.
It's-
They get a workout that you won't be getting doing other stuff.
Yeah.
Unless, it's construction or something like that. Same thing. You're gonna get joint stuff. That's how. But yeah, keep it. It's supposed to be fun. The death matches, though.
Death matches. Yeah. White belt death matches.
Yeah.
Probably, I would estimate 40% of all injuries in Jiu Jitsu come from white belt death matches. You think that's a good number?
Yeah, if not higher.
If not higher.
Yeah. Full on. Yeah.
Yeah. Check.
Cool. Next question. You talk about empathy and perspective and building relationships as a leader. But I look at a leader like Steve Jobs, who's known for his hostile attitude toward people. Isn't that being default aggressive like you talk about? If I'm more naturally that type of leader, should I go with it? If it worked for Steve Jobs, shouldn't it work for me?
So that's a good question. And I haven't actually read the book about Steve Jobs, and I think there's probably more than one, but there's one that's real popular, real thick, and someone gave it to me, and I have it, and I will someday, but I haven't read it yet, and I've heard it's really good and all that. And that being said, I've heard the same things about Steve Jobs' leadership style. He was real tyrannical, and I pulled a couple things here just from, well, here we go. In his book about Jobs' time at Next and Return to Apple, The Second Coming of Steve Jobs, Alan Deutschman described Jobs' rough treatment of his underlings. He would praise, this is a quote, he would praise and inspire them, often in very creative ways, but he would also resort to intimidating, goading, berating, belittling, and even humiliating them. So, and there's another article by Ronald Reggio, who's a PhD in psychology, and the article came from Psychology Today, and it says he was obsessively controlling and given to fits of rage, throwing tantrums and yelling at employees and board members. He could tear down someone's ideas or the person himself in a public display. Some have said he took credit for others' ideas, and his confidence led to a sort of over-the-top arrogance. So the guy's kind of tyrannical. One time when they were putting together the Mobile Me application and it wasn't working well, and Jobs told the team that was putting it together, when it wasn't working, you've tarnished Apple's reputation. You should hate each other for having let each other down. So, okay, so first of all, let's look at the fact, and you've heard me say this before, that people's strengths are their weaknesses and their weaknesses can be their strengths. So in Steve Jobs' case, obviously, some of this stuff, some of his weaknesses that we're talking about here were also strengths, because he was totally beyond driven, right? He was completely obsessed with doing good and all that. And he pressed toward his vision extremely hard. He was relentless in trying to make things happen. And again, those are very positive characteristics. If you got someone that's really driven and they're driven to the point of almost being obsessed, and you take that, and those are kind of good characteristics. But when they go too far, this is why it's dichotomy. This is the balance of leadership, right? When you go too far, you become a tyrannical leader, which is not good. It's not good for a team, and a team that is subjected to that kind of attitude will not perform as well as a unified team. Period. So the guy was clearly hostile, and at the same time, clearly, he was one of the most successful business leaders in history, right? So would you look at him and say, okay, well, maybe I should be that way. Maybe I should be a tyrannical leader. And I would say to that, no. You do not get to do that. And here's why. Let's look at some other characteristics that Steve Jobs had. First of all, he was perhaps the foremost technological visionary in the history of the world. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he had a vision of technology that very few people in the history in the world have had. And I will go a little bit more narrow. I think he understood things on another level when it came to technology, the part of how human beings would interact with technology. That's the part that I think he really had just incredible vision for. He realized, like, oh, these people will want a computer in their house, and they'll want it to reflect the way they live, and they're going to want music in their pocket, and they're going to want all of their music in their pocket, and they're going to want a phone that can do, he had this vision of how people would interact with technology that I don't think too many people had. So that's number one. Number two, he had a phenomenal feel for design, right? For design and how to merge form and function together in an aesthetically pleasing and oftentimes stunning way, right? If you look at the design, and that's uncommon, especially for someone to have that feel for design and still have a massively technical background, right? So that, again, we're making a person that's like 1% of 1% of 1% already. On top of that, he got into his business at the right time, in the right place. He had the right background. On top of that, the guy could speak well. The guy was very articulate, right? He was very articulate with his vision. If you watch his keynote speeches that he would give at the whatever it is when they have the Apple convention, what's that thing called?
The Apple convention.
Yeah, they have that thing. Well, he'd get up on stage and he'd talk about stuff, and he would articulate that, and he would do it with real clarity, and he was very convincing, and he was very captivating. And people were, they'd say Apple's a cult.
Yeah.
They'd follow that guy. So he had all those skills, those world-class skills. And I'm not using that term lightly. I'm talking world-class skills. And then all those world-class skills are combined together into one package, one human being. And there you got Steve Jobs. So he's got all those advantages. And then on top of that, he's had some luck along the way, right? He had some luck in his timing and his upbringing and the exposures that he got, and being exposed to computer programming and those things back in the day was rare, and he got lucky in having that unfold for him. So he had all these things going for him that helped propel him and his company to the top. So now, if you're thinking maybe you should use his leadership style, the questions that you should ask yourself is: are you a 1 in a billion technological visionary or visionary of any kind? The answer to that is likely no. And if you think it's yes, maybe you should check your ego a little bit. Then you have to ask yourself: do you have an eye for design? An artistic eye for design like Da Vinci or Michelangelo? If you have that, you probably don't. If you think you have that, maybe you should check your ego again. Are you a gifted speaker and storyteller, and can you convey your vision with total clarity to big, giant groups, broad groups of people? And if you think you can do that, again, you should check your ego. Can you count on luck, or do you want to count on luck to close the gaps in some of those other areas? So if you could do all those things, if you answered yes 100% to all those questions, then okay, maybe you can get away with being a kind of leader that Steve Jobs was. But if you're a normal person, if you're a normal human being, then maybe you should try and be a good leader. And maybe you should be a leader that builds relationships and forms cohesive teams and coalitions that help you drive your mission forward despite the ups and downs of whatever business you're in. So that's it. Steve Jobs had a lot of other things that made him successful.
Yeah.
And leadership. And I'm going to eventually read the book, but he clearly had some people around him that utilized that skill, the skills that he did have, and helped move him forward, right? Other people at the company, other people early in Apple saw that, hey, you know what? This guy, he might be a little bit hard to deal with, but he's got some things that we won't find anywhere else. So let's prop him up and let's move forward.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works.
Yeah. I think they call that survivorship bias, where like you see
a successful guy and you go,
yeah, and you're like, yeah, he did it that way, so let's do it that way. But yeah, you kind of don't see all the other factors or whatever. Almost like if you really think about it, if Steve Jobs were to be like in these tyrannical ways or whatever, if he were to be less like that, maybe there would be more success. You see what I'm saying? But he was so strong in these other areas that it kind of like mitigated the effects.
You know, there's businesses that are successful because they're a successful business model. Yeah. And they have really bad leadership.
Yeah, and even that can't mess it up, kind of thing.
Yep, even the bad leadership doesn't. It's the model is so good.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit contrary because, you know, I always say leadership's the most important thing on the battlefield. But in the business world, if you have a phenomenal idea, then you can be successful on that idea alone. Now, that is a unicorn. That is one of those rare things where you have something that's that incredibly different and stands out from the crowd so much that it's going to be successful no matter what. You know, when the early gyms, MMA type gyms, if you had one, you were successful. It didn't matter what kind of leader you were because you had it. Yeah. And now there's competition. If you don't have good leadership and you're not putting forth a good product amongst all the competitors, you're gonna have problems. Yeah, you're gonna have problems with it.
Yeah, and the more I kind of listen to you and Leif, the more I realize that even then, it's almost like you have to have a minimum level of leadership. Like, you don't have to be perfect if you have one of these situations where the product of the business model is so good. Yeah. But still, even your leadership can mess that up.
Oh, yeah. You can absolutely destroy it.
Yeah, like you're in a situation where, like, now no one wants to work for you. Now what? Oh, yeah, good. Nice MMA gym. You don't have any. You got to work there.
Yeah.
You know, the whole time. And you can't, so it's going to kind of fall apart after a while. So maybe like in the beginning it'd be good, but it'll fall apart because of your lack of leadership.
For sure.
Or something.
And you can see that. I mean, who's the guy that just got removed from Uber? I'd have to go into I'd have to really drill down on it, but the CEO of Uber got removed.
Yeah.
And, the business model's awesome.
Yeah.
And they still removed the CEO. Why? Because there's issues there.
Yeah.
And so, well, it's a great business model, but we still need good leadership.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm basically confirming what you just said. The good business model will get you to a certain level, but then to get to the next level, you're going to need leadership, and that's why leadership's the most important thing on the battlefield.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So what? The moral: don't necessarily be tyrannical.
No, in fact, don't be
straight up
tyrannical.
Yeah.
Don't be. And I'm not saying that there's not times where you have to have a little tyrannical flair, because there may be times where you need to flare up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it should be rare.
Yeah.
It should be rare. The problem is it becomes a crutch for people, and then they just continue to do it more and more and more and more, and then it doesn't work.
It's kind of like drugs too, right? When you flare up on someone. Mm-hmm. And you win or whatever, you kind of like it.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked. And you kind of like it. Feels good. Feels powerful. So I think some people, that's how, so they'll do it and it'll work, and they'll be like, yeah, I only need that little.
Yeah. And what's even worse is like when that's where you learned from someone, that's what you saw, and then you do it and you go, oh, it worked for me too. And all I have to be is treat people bad and be a jerk and yell, and my subordinates will do what I tell them to do, and they will. Right? Mm-hmm. A subordinate will, if you bark at them and scream at them, they're going to do what you say at the moment. Mm-hmm. The problem is, what kind of team have you built? That's the problem.
Yeah.
What is that subordinate going to do when you're not there?
Yeah.
They're going to do everything they can to cut corners, and really they don't care about you. They don't want to do a good job for you.
Yeah.
And so when you're not there, they're not going to do a good job for you.
Yeah.
So you get addicted to yelling and screaming, but it doesn't work in the broad sense of what you're trying to make happen.
Yeah. Slowly falling apart. Next question. I'm 26 years old. I'm currently an undercover detective. I've recently been told that I'm being promoted to sergeant over our department's investigations division. I've been the youngest person to hold that position in our department's history. All the guys I'll be in charge of are much older, some in their late 40s. How do I, as a younger leader, lead them? How do you demand and earn respect from an older group? I'm ready for the job and know what the job entails, but I'm nervous to lead a group of 9 people that are all older than me.
So I've answered this question over and over again, and I'm going to do a quick job of it here just because people may not have gone back and listened to all the other podcasts. But yeah, I've listened. The answer's always the same. And it's always the same whether you're a young person leading old person, whether you're an old person leading young people, whether you're a woman leading men, a man leading women, whether you're coming in from a different department into a new department that you don't know anybody, whether you're going into a thing that you don't have experience on, it's like all the same. Basically what it is, you're going into a leadership position.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Be humble, listen, take advice, build relationships, keep your ego in check. Also, one of the reasons I did pull this question out is like, how do you demand respect? Well, the answer is you don't demand respect. And if you do demand respect, you'll get anything but respect from people. So get that out of your head. You earn respect, and how do you earn respect? You respect them. In this case, you respect their experience, you respect their knowledge. You respect it. They've been doing it for a long time. You have respect for it. And when you show respect for them, they're going to respect you back. Now, none of this means be passive, right? This doesn't mean cower down. No, you still have to lead. You still have to step up. But it does mean be humble, be open-minded, be proactive, listen, ask questions, ask for opinions, decentralize all aspects of operations, including the planning, which we already talked about. And then with all those things, set a high standard. And then the final and most important, well, I don't know, it's equally important, I'd say. Work harder than everyone else and expect nothing in return. That's it. Yeah. That's it. You're the boss. You better be at work before everyone, and you better be leaving work after everyone. And that's how you develop a reputation of being a hard worker. And being a hard worker in its own right garners respect from most people. There's a fraction of losers that are like, oh, Echo, he works so much, it's so lame. Like, no.
Why? Because I'm making him look bad or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, there's a small fraction of people that might think that way. But no, you work harder. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you study, you read what you're supposed to read, you get the professional knowledge that you're supposed to get. You don't impose that on people, but you have it. Because your book knowledge, when you start off in this situation, your book knowledge isn't as strong as the experienced guys. In this case, in the law enforcement, the guys that have been in the streets, they know stuff that you don't know. Yeah. So you study what you can, but you keep an open mind so you can listen to what their experience says.
Yeah. Like, don't impose on them. Wait, when you say don't impose it on them, does that mean don't impose them, like make them,
it's like
drive
this.
them?
Echo, section 4.2 alpha of the document says that we're supposed to use this methodology when we do this. Yeah. You should know that methodology. You should understand why that methodology is important. But if you say, hey, Jocko, we don't do it that way, and here's why, I shouldn't be like, well, I'm telling you, it's by the book. Yeah. It's by the book. Now, if it's by the book because there's an ethical reason, okay, well, then that makes sense. Yeah. But if it's by the book because that's what the book says. It's by the book. By the book.
Yeah. Or the guy who works extra hard, but he kind of in a way throws it in everyone's face how hard he works. No, don't be that guy.
That's an important thing. It's a very important piece. You don't step on people's toes with this stuff.
Yeah,
that's wrong. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, that's junk.
Check.
Next question, Jocko. I'm extremely driven and have high expectations for myself and my team. It appears that now I may have pushed them too hard. And they're developing negative attitudes. I feel like you're going to say play the game and develop relationships with them. But should I really just ignore who I am? Should I try to be someone different than myself?
Yeah, well, you called it, question person. Whoever asked this question, you called it. That's exactly what I'm going to say. I'm going to say you need to play the game. Look at what your current path has done. Look at what the real you, look what it's done. The real you has created a negative attitude with all your team. That's the real you. So is that what you want to perpetuate? Creating negative attitudes with your team? And by the way, they're just getting started. And if you think you're going to keep acting the same way and the negative attitudes are going to somehow miraculously turn positive, that's not happening. They're going to get more negative.
Yeah.
So when people have negative attitudes, I saw somebody quoted this the other day on social medias, on Twitter. Someone, no, the quote was like, no, it's not my fault when my subordinates have a bad attitude or something like that. And about a bunch of people responded, like, you should read the book Extreme Ownership. Because it absolutely is your fault. Yeah. It is your fault. If your team has a bad attitude, it's your fault. You're the leader. You own the attitude. If their attitude is bad, then it's actually your fault. Now, this is not to say that you can't have a bad apple on the team. That's completely possible. And who's responsible for getting rid of the bad apples? You are. You're the boss. Because the fact of the matter is, you might have a bad apple on your team. You might even have 2 bad apples on your team. You don't have 14 bad apples on the team. When you have 14 apples on the team, guess who the problem is? It's you. So here's what you do. A little tactical advice. Try and get some perspective from them. Try and understand where they're coming from, what challenges they face, what's pulling them off track. And when you do this, you kind of take ownership of it in your approach. So you say, hey guys, I realize I don't think I'm really seeing things from your point of view. And I need to, because I'm here to support you. And without you performing well, then we fail. So I think I need to do a better job of supporting you. And I can only do that if I know what your issues are, so I can do my best to get them fixed. So what can I do better to help you? Right? So now they're going to start telling you, there's this problem and there's that problem. And then what you do is you listen to their problems. You actually listen to their problems. You don't say, hey, quit complaining. Sure. No, you actually listen to their problems, and then you actually see what you can do to mitigate their issues. And as you do that, guess what's happening? You're actually forming a bond. You're actually forming into a team because you're working together to solve issues. Again, it sounds really simple, right? But clearly, here's someone asking this question. Now, again, like if you have some members of the team that are actual negative, complaining whiners, then you might have to get rid of them. And that's part of being a leader, is knowing when you have to get rid of someone. Sometimes people, they take the extreme ownership attitude and they say, you know what? I'm the leader. I own everything. I'm extreme ownership. And if someone's not performing well, then that's my fault. Yeah. That's my fault. I need to coach them more. It's my fault that my team member is not doing well. And that's correct. It is your fault. It's your responsibility to train them, coach them, mentor them, and do whatever else you can do to fix them. But at the end of the day, if they still are not competent at their task and you've done everything you can, you're responsible to get rid of them. That is also a part of ownership. So, yeah, like I'll have someone complaining that they've got, one of my team leaders, like they're talking about their subordinate team leaders. This guy's, he's just a bad leader. Oh, why is he still here? Yeah. Your team, that team isn't doing well because they have a bad leader. Whose fault is that? Well, it's the leader's fault. No, it's your fault. You're in charge of the leader. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So, back to the original question, your whatever you called it, who you actually are is not working well. He probably is thinking he's a Steve Jobs type. Hey, we got to do this. Yeah. But it's not working. Mm-hmm. And he's not in a unicorn business model that's still making a ton of money regardless. So what does he have to do? Play the game, build the relationships, see the perspective of your team so that you can actually form a team. Yeah. Be a better leader. That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it's interesting. What they call framing. You frame something a certain way to make it kind of sound a certain way, whatever. So he said, extremely driven and have high expectations for myself and my team. It appears that now I may have pushed them too hard and they're developing negative attitudes. So being extremely driven and having high expectations doesn't equal driving them too hard so they develop negative attitude. Those are two different things. You can still be extreme. So
yeah, you can absolutely have extremely high expectations. You can be driving extremely hard and you can still have an incredibly positive attitude with your team. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
Good point.
So And then it gets equated into that's just who I am. So he just kind of put it all into one ball, and without one, there's no other kind of situation. It's just not how it is.
No.
So apparently you might be committed. He might be committed to being all of these things, and that's who I am, and that's kind of it, kind of thing. And I think that's like the mistake plenty of people make. We say this a lot where people will be like, hey, I'm just straightforward, take it or leave it kind of thing, and be like, okay, but you're going to, in your case, lose, in your situation.
That's the big piece, is that in their case, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. If you're so driven and you have such high expectations that you want to win so bad, but the way you're performing as a human being and as a leader is going to make you lose, then what are you supposed to do? You change the way you behave. You become a better leader.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yes, sir. So you take, and this is total speculation on my part, but you keep, so this equation that we're presented with, being extremely driven, keep that. High expectations, keep that. Pushing your team hard, keep that. I would say too hard, that's going to be a judgment call from day to day for sure. But there's a part in here that's more implied that you're being an asshole. Somewhere in here, you're being an asshole. How about you take out that part, take out the being the asshole part, and then keep everything else. See how that goes.
Yeah.
Because you kind of know when you're being a dick. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're like not being honest with yourself.
There's some people that don't. There's some people that don't get it. There's some people that don't get it.
Oh, right. Because it's like, how like when you don't, some people, they just can't step outside of themselves and be like, hey, if you said that to me, I wouldn't care kind of thing. And be like, bro, bruh, you're not me and I'm not you. Kind of. Yeah, you're right.
They can't detach. Yeah. There's absolutely people that don't know.
Yeah.
They're socially incapable of receiving social clues from people, social cues from people.
Yeah.
They don't see the look in their face when they're talking to them.
Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking of like 3 examples right now.
There's all kinds of examples.
Yeah, also that would go back to what you're saying, how you say get input from them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of, so you can do it, man. It's a solvable problem.
This is a very solvable problem. And I've seen people solve this problem. I've helped people solve this exact problem. And the weird thing is they think, and it's part ego, but it's also part their own person. They think they're doing a great thing. Like they think that they're driving everything that they're doing in their mind, they're just awesome for pushing so hard. It's just the way I am and all that stuff. And they think it's awesome. But again, if you want to win so bad, then you have to play the game. You won't win by abusing people. Yeah. You won't win with a team anyways. Yeah. You won't. It won't happen.
Yeah. It's no use being the best dancer if you're not invited on the dance floor. One of those.
I'll leave that one with you.
Yeah. No worries. All right, cool. Next question. Actually, that problem is so solvable that this is possible, where you could just show just that much more, I don't know, caring or respect, just that much, and do it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you're doing it now. Yeah. People will be like, hey, wait, he's showing a little bit more.
Here's the thing. If a person has an ego, which this person could very well have a big ego, because that's why they have these high expectations, and that's why they're so driven, because if they have that kind of ego, that's the person that you can't help. Because they just look at the team and say, those guys should be harder workers.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't working as hard as me. They're not as focused as I am.
Yeah.
They don't care as much as I do. So everyone else on the team has a problem.
Yeah.
But I'm perfect. And you can't, look at how driven I am. Look at how focused I am. Look at how high my expectations are of myself. But if you can't, here's another thing. If your team cannot relate to your expectations, like they don't even see them as realistic or achievable or anything, what good are your expectations?
Yeah.
What good are they? They're not any good.
No good.
They don't make any sense.
That makes sense. That's true. Next question. Dear Jocko, I've been watching some of your YouTube links with great interest.
Must be a subscriber to the YouTube channel.
Yep. Watching those videos. I'm sure you're extremely busy, but I have a question. which if you have time, I would greatly appreciate your reply. I've taken
Very
jiu-jitsu.
polite opening, by the way.
Very much so.
Okay.
I'm going to incorporate that approach. So I've taken up BJJ, Jiu-Jitsu, recently in London, in the UK. So a beginner. I know you're a great advocate of the system, but my basic question is your opinion. Does it truly relate to real life fight situations? I'm a man now approaching my mid-40s in pretty good shape, and I'm looking to focus on a martial art that would help me if I ever need to defend myself or my family. I love the discipline and humility of BJJ and as a workout. I know the philosophy of BJJ is that most fights end up on the ground, and it's here that BJJ excels. But what of the other guys who might be standing around ready to bottle you, or kick you in the head once you're grappling on the ground, etc.?
Again, this is a question that, first of all, I've answered this a lot of times.
Sure.
But I'll answer it one more time.
Sure.
Jiu-Jitsu is the best place to start. You should also learn boxing, wrestling, kickboxing. This is all in Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual. So if you get that book, this will be laid out for you very well. So yes, that's what you should start studying with. This guy, mid-40s, wants to learn something. Yes, start with jiu-jitsu. Does it relate to real life situations? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. I've been in them. It's extremely effective. And you can see that over and over again, speaking of YouTube. You can see how effective jiu-jitsu is in real fights. Now, it's important to remember that for self-defense, the grappling arts in general should be used primarily to get away, to avoid going to the ground, right? Like when you bring up, what if there's other people that might be there? You should, why are you on the ground? Mm-hmm. Jiu-jitsu will give you the best opportunity to get up off the ground. That's what it gives you. And then you can get away from the people that are getting ready to stick you with a smashed bottle, or getting ready to kick you in the head. If you don't know jiu-jitsu, guess what you're doing? You're on the ground, and you're getting kicked in the head, and you're getting stabbed with a bottle. Yeah. That's why you train jiu-jitsu, so you can get up off the ground, not so you can take someone to the ground. Because, by the way, and I've said this before, if your goal is to punch me and you're standing at a punching distance or a striking distance from me, I can just run away. That's my self-defense. I can get away from you. Mm-hmm. So that's why we train jiu-jitsu. That's the primary. That's why you should start with it, because otherwise, I'm just going to get away from you. If you're not if once you grab me though, I can't get away from you anymore. Mm-hmm. Now I have to be able to handle myself. Yep. That's why I know jiu-jitsu, so I can handle myself. Once you've grabbed me, if you're not grabbing me, I can just get away from you. I can just run away from you. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to run away because it's going to hurt your pride, well then guess what? That's why you train all the time. I mean, now we go back and forth, and we can talk about all the negative things that will happen if you get into a street fight, like the fact that you can get hurt, you can get stabbed, you can get shot, you can get sued, you can get arrested, you can ruin your life, you can do all these horrible things can happen if you get in a street fight. So that's why my advice to you is to avoid street fights. Yeah. That's what you do. And by the way, that's why you work on your awareness. That's why you make your wife and your children aware of what's going on around them, to pay attention to what's happening in the street. It's one thing that was interesting when I was in Australia, and I was in a nice part of Australia. And I was talking to some people about it. You know, there's just a very relaxed atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Where I was standing in a very nice part of Australia. There's a very relaxed atmosphere. Mm. When you're in America, there's a heightened atmosphere. There's a heightened awareness you have to have. And depending on where you are, and it's the same thing I'm sure in Australia, I only went to the nice part. I'm sure you could go to some tough areas where you better be more aware of what's happening. But teach your kids, because some kids don't know the difference. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't even know the difference of what to look out for, what kind of people you need to watch out for in the street. So work on that, and then, yes, train. And you're in UK, and of course, I've said this before, if you're truly in a situation where you feel threatened on a regular basis, well, then what you need is a firearm. Because if someone's going to attack you with a knife or with a bottle or themselves having a gun, jiu-jitsu isn't going to help you. Mm-hmm. Boxing is going to help you. Eskrima is not going to help you if someone has a gun. So, yeah. And by the way, if you're in a knife fight and you know some eskrima, that will help you. But what if the other guy's better than you? What if there's two of them?
Yeah.
The minute you put two people against one, the odds of winning are just extremely low.
Yeah.
Extremely low. Does it happen? Yes, it happens. Can you knock someone out? Yes, you can. That's why you train boxing.
Yeah.
So, yes, again, train some jiu-jitsu. Start there and go and keep going and don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like this question always comes from a place where they just assume all these things, and those things are, I'm going to choose to get in a fight with someone, bring it to the ground in the middle of the street or in a club, I don't know, wherever there's potential other attackers with bottles and kicks to the head. And so all these things are just assumed, kind of like, yeah, you take jiu-jitsu, now you can go to the club and get in fights and win all the time. It's kind of like that's kind of where the question's coming from, where you said, yeah, it allows you to get up. So basically, it allows you to control your situation, your fight scenario. Yeah, more. Yes. And I would even say it allows you a lot more to control it. Because even if you do take it, let's say you take it to the ground.
I meant more by a little bit
more than nothing. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm saying a lot more. Because really, when you think of it, and I try to, granted, even like at a beginner level. So let's say, okay, if you choose to engage with someone in some kind of fight, right? It's up to you how heavy you want to take that fight. You want to go to 10, you go to 10. You want to go to just 1, you can go to 1. So if you wind up on the ground, which is the worst place to be if you don't know anything, on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's aside from how you said if the guy has a gun and shoots you, you're talking about, that's not even a fight scenario. That's, so you wind up on the ground.
It's a gunfight.
It's a gunfight, yeah. If you know boxing, you're going to have almost no control over that scenario if we're on the ground and someone's on top of you.
Yeah. Your boxing is not worthless.
Yeah, marginalized, we'll say.
But it's heavily marginalized.
Yeah.
Heavily marginalized.
Yeah. Same thing with, kickboxing and whatever. So there's that. If you know jiu-jitsu, just a little bit of jiu-jitsu, if you're on the ground, you have control of the fight more, depending on your level, whatever. So if you're at that point still facing a threat of someone with a bottle or kicks to the head or whatever while you're on the ground, compare it if you know jiu-jitsu versus if you don't know jiu-jitsu. You're still saving way more control.
Way more.
So meanwhile, like the boxing situation or karate situation, whatever, is gonna be less effective in controlling your situation. Now, if you don't look at it like that, like if you look at it like, okay, this guy's squaring up to me, now I want to mess him up as quickly as I can, then okay, like you can do boxing and just take it to 10, but you don't have the option of taking it from 1, 2, 3 or nothing like that.
Yeah, but the other thing is, like, it's hard to knock someone out.
That's the second part.
It's hard to knock someone out.
Yeah.
Does it happen? Yeah, it does happen. And it can happen to you too. It can happen to you too. But it's hard to knock someone out. Mm-hmm. And it's risky as soon as you start saying, okay, you and I are going to just trade punches. Mm-hmm. There's a risk for both of us. There's a risk for me. The assurance of me being able to handle the situation the way I want it to go by closing the distance with you, getting control, getting a hold of you. If I'm trained and you're not, you're done. Yeah. You're done. Right. That's the way it works.
Yeah, and then even then, that's like if you choose for this guy to be done. So if your sole purpose is to keep yourself safe,
you could just put the guy to sleep and walk away.
Yeah,
or gently lay him down.
Or
on the
just
ground.
Be like, mount. I'm not even hurt him. Not going to put him to sleep. Nothing. Mount. You see a guy. You can see the guy coming with a bottle or whatever. Yeah. Way more if you know jiu-jitsu. So
there's the whole thing of when you're just used to the physical contact, the bodies clashing and. Yeah. Grappling.
Less shocking.
Yeah. So train jiu-jitsu. Then train boxing, wrestling, kickboxing. And then, of course, now people will be like, what about judo? Yes, train judo. What about sambo? Yes, train sambo.
Yeah.
What else? What else do I need to do? What about Krav Maga? Sure, train it.
Yeah.
Yeah, train everything.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I think
Start with jiu-jitsu.
what you said on a real general level is the most critical thing. It's like when someone gets a hold of you, like, and you put this into perspective a while ago when you were like, yeah, if someone wants to fight you, walk away or run away.
Yeah.
You go, but, and you said all these scenarios, you run away or you go away. You want to keep yourself safe? You don't be there.
The best thing to do to avoid the getting punched, falling on the curb, dying, getting stabbed, getting kicked, getting stabbed with a bottle, getting arrested, getting lawsuit, getting all those things happening, the best thing to do, run away, walk away.
Yeah, leave fully. And then you said, but what happens when you can't run away?
Because the guy grabs you.
There it
there
is.
you have it.
Yeah. So it seems like, I'm going to train boxing so I can do self-defense. Oh, no, you want to fight somebody. That's what you want to do. You want to punch people in the face.
Boxing,
with no jiu-jitsu, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, but boxing is a skill that everybody should have. Not everyone. Good people should have, because there's two critical things on that you learn from boxing: is how to punch people and how to avoid getting punched.
Yeah.
And how to keep your guard up, right?
Fully.
Those are important. Those are really important skills to have.
Yeah, fully. But what I mean is, if you're starting from nothing and you're like, okay, I'm gonna choose to address my self-defense situation.
You have a fantasy that you saw a guy on YouTube that was clearly a boxer knock out two people in a street fight, and you're like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's
and
what I mean.
you actually watched was a guy that was a Golden Gloves boxer, who was sober, knock out two drunk idiots. And guess what? A Golden Gloves boxer will do that. Have you ever sparred with a Golden Gloves boxer? They're freaking good. They're freaking good.
No kidding.
They're like a black belt in boxing.
Yeah.
And they will knock out two drunk guys all day long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird too, because you kind of.
But if a third drunk guy or even that first drunk guy grabs a hold of the boxer, and gets him to the ground, the boxer's going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And this isn't like my thoughts. This is fact.
Yeah.
This is like I talked about this in the field manual. It's like, look, there's no conjecture. It's not like I wonder what would happen. No, we know what happens. We know what happens when two people fight, and you can watch all the different various types of styles going at it, and you can watch what happens. Yeah. And sure, you can find the rare video where, hey, this boxer knocks out a couple drunk people, or even, hey, the boxer knocks out the jiu-jitsu guy. Does that happen? Yes, it can absolutely happen. That's why you train boxing too.
Yeah. Next question. I've not been working out regularly for several years now. Obviously, I'm fat and lazy, but I want to get after it. So the question is, should I go all in level 9 destruction maximum madness, or ease into it at level 3 cruising edition? Respect.
All right. Well, there's a couple different approaches. Now, when I hear this, first of all, you don't want to get hurt, right? Mm-hmm. And you also don't want to make yourself try and do things that are so hard and so painful that you can't do it repeatedly. Yeah. So if you just destroy yourself, what do you say? If you destroy yourself, level 9 destruction, maximum madness, but then you can't work out for 2 more weeks, well, guess what? What'd you do in the No, let's say realistically, you got DOMS.
DOMS, sure.
Right? Delayed onset muscle soreness. Let's say you did so many burpees that your legs, you couldn't sit down without your legs being in pain.
Major DOMS.
So you take 3 days. 4 days. Have you ever had DOMS so bad that you took 4 days off?
No.
Okay. Let's say you take 3 days off. Mm. What did you do during those 3 days? Did you hold the line? Did you stay on the path? Yeah. Or were you eating Cheetos?
Yeah,
and
on your
drinking
rest
Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. So if you destroy yourself to where you can't stay on the path, that's not good. Mm. You want to stay on the path. I think doing something that you can handle, or maybe something just beyond what you can handle, every single day is more important. So going at a level, not cruising level, not level 3, but let's find a solid level 5 where you're pushing yourself. I write 1,000 words a day when I'm writing, and
it's legit.
Do the equivalent of that, right? The reason I write, because if I said, okay, today I just have to write 5,000 words, that's 5 hours.
Yeah.
Well, do I have 5 hours today? No, I don't. Yeah. I can squeeze out 52 minutes though and get 1,000 words written. That I can do. So that's what I think you need to do. You need to get consistent. if you bite off more than you can chew, you might very well choke on it. So don't do that. So pick something realistic. Do people say that? That must be a saying.
That's the first time I heard it. So I'm
if you
impressed.
bite off more than you can chew, you might choke on it.
Did you make that up, or you get that from somewhere?
I think I don't know. I think I made it up.
It's good.
But I'm sure someone will be like, no, this guy said it in 1978.
Yeah,
but
you heard it. Still.
That's the beauty of it.
Still good.
So pick something realistic, like something that you can handle, and then get after it. Then the other thing here is he doesn't talk about his diet at all, and that's clearly equally important. And you have to change your diet if you're going to change your life and you're going to change your health. So stop eating sugar, stop eating processed foods, no more soda and juices, and no more Gatorade. Just to start with, right? Or whatever it is that you're doing. Whoever asked this question, whatever, you know what you're doing. If you're eating donuts, wrong. Yeah. Don't eat donuts anymore. Stop. Just stop eating those. Yeah. Get rid of that sugar sweetness craving thing.
Yeah.
And then just keep making your diet cleaner and cleaner as time goes by.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Is there any time that it's good? Because sometimes I think it's good when people do go like, all right, man, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like whatever happened, they went up the staircase and they got all tired and they say, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
It starts tomorrow. But I think in those cases, most of the time, who was it that we were talking to? Talking to someone that I was talking to someone that their first thing they tried to do, they couldn't do at all. Like they tried to run 3 miles and they were like, you know what? Can't do it. Can't run 3 miles. Oh, it might have been that guy. There's a guy that's losing a bunch of weight on the interwebs. Oh yeah, that's what it is. I think he's down in Texas. But he's trying to lose a lot of weight. And the first time he went to try to go for a run, didn't happen. Didn't happen. So he had to just run less. Or he had to just walk, actually.
Right, start slower.
So yeah, you start with what you can do. But there is a little bit of there is I would say this. Keep this one in the back of your mind. There is the whole thing of like, you know what? I'm changing my life right now. You go home, you get the garbage can out, you bring it into the kitchen, you throw away the Twinkies, you throw away the Pop-Tarts, you throw away you pour the crappy soda down the drain, and you get on the path and you just don't look back.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do too.
Yeah.
But again, if that person's 300 pounds, they're not going to be able to do. I mean, they're going to push themselves. Yeah, they could push themselves too hard, I guess. So you just got to be careful.
Yeah. So, and that it's funny when I'm kind of looking at the question, I'm like, well, obviously you want to start slow, right? Obviously, but then I don't know. You hear about these guys just like how you said. They throw everything away. They were like, I'm a different person right now.
I think we're crossing streams here, or I am. There's diet, and then there's like workout.
Yeah. Because
diet, you can pretty much go cold turkey today.
Yeah, and you may or may not be able to relate to this, but if you go straight extreme on your diet, like all of a sudden, you're hit with the byproducts of changing your diet, especially if you like Mountain Dew every single day, right? And you just all of a sudden, boom, stop drinking Mountain Dew. Right. You'll go through stuff that you might not expect. Like the craving will hit you so hard. What are we going to put
the guy on freaking minimal doses of Mountain Dew? No.
Basically.
Stop. No.
Basically.
I'm going to say no. Just stop. Stop drinking Mountain Dew. You don't need it.
I dig it.
And you're going to go through withdrawals, right? You're going to go through caffeine withdrawals and sugar withdrawals. You're going to get the keto flu, and all those things are going to happen, and it's going to be rough. But
don't just say it like that. It's going to be rough, but that's all. Hey, bro, seriously, if you go into that and you experience these types of things, and it's going to apply to everything, by the way, any big change that you make where you have to deprive yourself of these bad things that you've become kind of addicted to or whatever, you're going to go through all kinds of changes. And that goes for workout too, by the way, because like just the soreness alone, oh, dang, I wasn't expecting the soreness. Oh, I'm like tired now because the workout like was kind of hard. It's like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to feel great after my workout, how everyone says or whatever. So you're gonna run into all these little things that no one tells you about, and then it's like, well, I didn't sign up for that little part of it, and then what about that little part? And then you're gonna
again. I think the diet thing. I think you're wrong. I think the diet thing, I think it's easier, in fact, to just be like, I'm done. It's not like, okay, you know what? I'm only going to eat a quarter bag of Cheetos a day from now on. I don't think that works. I think you got to be like, no Cheetos, no Cheetos in my house.
Yep.
But I do think that you could work out so hard that you're so sore that you say, oh man, I'm just too, like kind of like the Jiu Jitsu question earlier on. Like you could be, what if someone's so sore that they can't do their job, right? And they're just sore all day at work. Well, that's not cool.
Yeah.
So I think for diet, you can go cold turkey, or actually cold steak, or hot steak.
Sure.
And then I think for working out is the one you figure out what you can do, and you push it a little bit harder, but you don't go level 9 maximum destruction madness.
I think you're wrong, respectfully.
And which part do you think I'm wrong on?
The diet. I think if you go extreme with your diet, I think it'll work for some people, for sure. But depending on who you are. But I think you're more, if you go extreme with the diet, you don't like slowly phase out the bad things of your diet.
You know what's interesting? I don't know if you remember, I read a letter a while back on the podcast about a guy that had read Way of the Warrior Kid, and he fixed his life.
Yeah, man.
That guy did what you're saying. He just made little changes.
Yeah.
He made little changes along the way. So maybe it's probably personality. In fact, let's just go ahead and say it's personality. Okay. Some people are going to just have to get the damn Cheetos out of their house. All of them.
Yeah.
And some people say, you know what? I'm only going to have this one cup full of Cheetos every day.
Yeah. And
that's okay. But here's where you got to be careful. You may lie to yourself.
Oh yeah, big time. And
you can lie to yourself.
You
can lie to yourself and be like, I don't really not that big of a deal today if I just have 2 cups of Cheetos instead.
Yeah.
And then 9 cups of Cheetos later.
Yeah, but you still
you're
have
covered in Cheeto dust.
See, and respectfully, I don't like your Cheetos example.
Why?
Because you're like, I'm going to allow myself Cheetos. Okay, don't allow yourself Cheetos. That's not how small of a change you're going to make. If you're not going to eat Cheetos anymore, you're not going to eat Cheetos anymore. I'm saying, like, if you go extreme on your diet, let's say you eat.
But wouldn't you say what you're saying is, hey, I'm going to change my diet. Okay?
Sir.
I used to eat every day, I'd eat a whole bag of Cheetos.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm only going to eat 1 cup of Cheetos from the bag a day.
Yeah.
That's improvement.
It is improvement.
And it's small improvement.
Yeah.
And if I could do that, then why is that not okay?
Yeah, okay, if you choose to do that, but now we're going into the specifics of a certain person's thing. I would say this is more along the lines of what I'm thinking as far as specific examples. If I'm going to eat 1 bag of Cheetos, obviously that's not all I'm eating. I'm eating other stuff. Mm-hmm. The small change is I'm not going to eat Cheetos anymore. I'm going to cut out Cheetos. That's it. I'm still not eating that good. I'm going to cut out Cheetos. Or let's say I get drive-through every day. 3 times a day.
Okay.
I won't get drive-through anymore. Or
that's a big change.
Not necessarily, depending on what you get.
Going from 3 drive-throughs a day to 0, how's that not a big change?
Yeah, that's a big change.
How is going from and there's certain people, actually I was talking to someone the other day that had lost 150 pounds, female. Mm. And it was interesting. Her nutritionist, she hired a nutritionist, mm-hmm. and the nutritionist said, okay, what are the foods you can't live without? Yeah. And we'll work around those. Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing.
Yes.
And what she said was, I need cheeseburgers and fries. Okay. So then what she got told was something along the lines of, okay, you can have cheeseburger and fries on Friday.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I was going to say.
And
only
so
on the
then
weekends.
Instead of, this whole thing of I can never eat it. Now what I'm saying is there are people, and I think I'm one of these people, where it's like, oh, if I have cheeseburgers and fries today, well, then I might as well just get a mint chocolate chip milkshake with it. Yeah. And if I did that tonight, then you know what? Tomorrow morning, hey, after you get done training, maybe, that cheeseburger was good yesterday. So maybe it's my own personal weakness. But for me, I'd prefer to be just like on the path.
Yeah.
That's why the 80-20 rule, and I talked about this in the field manual, the 80-20 rule, maybe it works for some people, and I guess it does work for me, but I'd rather just be straight on the program. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what? Tim Ferriss has that thing or he's talked about that thing where he goes 6 days hardcore, mm-hmm. strict, and then the 7th day you literally eat whatever you want as much as you can.
And
I
agree
haven't
with that.
tried that.
I have, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Because you feel really, really good, not only physically, but just about the whole. I'm on the program, and you kind of know. And on that cheat day, you do. They call it the cheat day. You eat whatever you want, and you don't feel any guilt at all.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're on the 80-20, it's like you have to be coming off a real strong week to
feel good about the cheeseburger.
Free,
cheeseburgers are good too.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's not even really that bad of a cheat day.
Oh, really?
A cheat
what about
day
cheeseburger
is
and
like
fries?
fries. Then you're starting to go into it for sure. But a cheat day. Like ask Tim, it'll be like for real, like a whole thing of donuts,
Really?
a box of cookies. Yeah, whatever you want. Straight up, whatever you want.
That's just disgusting.
Here's the thing, though, with when you start to eat healthy and then you try to eat a whole box of donuts, you after like 1, 2, 3, maybe 6, 8 donuts, you're gonna be like,
have you ever eaten 6 donuts?
Oh, easy.
So you've eaten 6 donuts in one sitting.
Oh my gosh, you know those? I think they're called Entenmann's Old Fashioned. They're
you
what an old fashioned
you mean
donut
the little
is?
chocolate donuts?
No, you know what a
You're talking a full size donut.
Straight up. They're kind of a little bit bigger too. You know, okay. Bro, you know,
oh man,
you know
I can't even fathom eating 6 donuts.
Bro.
Ever since I started talking so much smack about donuts,
Yeah.
I know I can never have one again in my life.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed for
Yeah,
sure, 100%,
for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
I
Like
can
not
never
even
have a donut again. Can't even have a bite.
Even if you were like, if someone was like, "Hey, just
It's a bummer
bite this
because
donut."
when I was a little kid, my parents would buy the chocolate donuts, the Hostess chocolate
Yeah,
donuts
those
that
are
were
cool.
covered in chocolate. Those things are good.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't even have one of those again.
Nope. No, you're
Maybe
done.
if I did the 6-day cheat program.
Nope. Even then, you can't.
I can't do it.
Yeah. You know what an old fashioned donut is, right? It's like
Just a donut with a hole in it, right?
No, it's called old fashioned donuts.
No.
They're like they're kind of glazed and almost like they're not crispy, but they're kind of hard on the outside,
Yeah.
and then they're regular soft donuts on the inside, and they have this glaze over them. Okay, so I think I forget the name. I think it might be Entenmann's, but they have old fashioned donuts where they're not as hard, but they're kind of hard, and they're just bigger. Anyway, those were my favorite ones, and I used to get chocolate milk and heat up the chocolate milk, so it's
yeah.
like hot chocolate and donuts, and oh yeah, easy money. Like I'll eat 2 boxes of those for sure, or I used to, not anymore. Oh yeah. So
Not
the
healthy.
point there is on the cheat day, you just go.
Yeah,
like
no.
no shame. But after the thing is, you can't just eat donuts 4 times a day or 3 times. You just don't feel good. Like your stomach gets all upset, and the more healthy you eat, the more it's going to be like that. So the longer you're on the path, you start like if you ate some donut. Like the other day, we went to the Belmont Park, and I ate some ice cream, some mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Was it good?
It was fine. It was good. But, the kids are doing it,
I had some
whatever.
moose tracks the other night.
Yeah, you eat a big, large, double, whatever. After that, you're like, bro, I don't feel right, So unless you're just committed to eat it because, I don't know, you don't want to waste it or something like that, you're going to be like, oh, your cheat day is not going to be that bad, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
But
I
you
don't know.
still do
I think
have
I
that
could-
freedom.
I could make it happen.
Depends on
I
what
can
it
get
is,
fired
yeah.
up, yeah.
Yeah, you could pound some chili fries or something like that.
I don't like chili fries. All right. So, yeah. Maybe, what's the verdict then?
I think just in the middle of the road, not the whole starting
So that's
light
the same thing
thing.
I said, balance.
Yeah.
So you're saying balance as well.
I think
I'll
so.
tell you though, man, if that balance doesn't work for you, you're going to have to step it up. You're going to have to go hardcore. I'd give yourself 2 weeks. 2 weeks for a balanced approach on the diet side. If you can't get your shit under control in 2 weeks, you got to go hardcore. You got to get in there with a garbage can, throw away the Twinkies, throw away everything else that's crap in your fridge, and go hardcore. And start with a fast too, right?
See now.
Hey, a fast is awesome. A
If
fast
you know
is a
what to
great
expect, it's good.
Wait, I don't even know that there's that much to expect.
If
Don't
you
eat
never-
for a day.
If you never done it before,
It's not
comes
that
with
big
little
of a
stuff.
deal. There's no little stuff. Don't eat for a day.
There is little.
There's
stuff.
not.
Take it from a normal human being. There's little stuff that if you go in and not prepared for it, then you're like, oh, I don't know.
I actually think the more you think about it and prepare for it, the more psychologically
Yeah,
hard it is.
yeah,
Just
true.
be like, oh yeah, you know what? I woke up this morning. I haven't eaten last night. Cool. I'm not going to eat until tonight.
Every time
That's a fast.
Yeah, so
It's
when
not
I
that big of a
plan it
deal.
like that, when I'm like, I'm not going to eat till this, then I go through little stuff. But if I'm too into work and I'm
Right.
only drinking coffee and I forget, I'm like, dang, if I eat now, I haven't ate for 12
15
hours,
hours, 16
then I'll be
hours.
like, oh, I'll just go another 3. That's
Yeah.
my 15 because it's like 15, right? 15 hours is when your body starts to kind of shift over to like a thing.
Interesting.
I think 15.
Okay.
If what I read is correct. So I'll just wait the extra hour and it's like, cool, done. But if I plan it, that's when, I don't know. But it depends on who you are, man.
But that's a good way
I
to
agree
kick
with the
things
fast.
off.
Yeah, I
It's a
agree.
good way to kick things off and get like jump onto the path.
Yeah.
Just jump on with a fast.
Yeah. But
Hey, go see your doctor or whatever. Do you have to go see a doctor to fast 24 hours?
I
don't
think you
so.
should. If you've been
probably.
quote
If the guy-
unquote fat, lazy,
Yeah.
especially if you're older or something like that, I think seeing a doctor
Does it help to get a
always-
personal trainer?
Depends on what you mean by help, but
The
yes.
woman I just talked to, she's like personal trainer and nutritionist, hired them both.
Yeah.
Lost 100 whatever pounds. So I think she was in excess of 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And when I met her, she's completely normal, right? Like, completely like you wouldn't even suspect that she had any weight trouble in her life.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So hire the trainer, hire the nutritionist.
Yeah. I think so. I think that helps. I always looked at it like, why would I hire like a trainer or something like that when I can kind of look up that stuff? But here's the thing. I went in with this bias, like, because I kind of had a background in it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, why would I can just go look at, but I'm looking it up, but I
Well,
have all this other knowledge.
Maybe
that kind of
same
support.
rule. You try it for 2 weeks. See if you can keep yourself on the path. And then
Yeah.
if you can't, you got to bring someone in. Right?
Here's what I like. Hire a trainer, but not like the kind every day. It's like a once a week trainer who can get you on a little program.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
kinda,
that's true.
it's going to depend on who you are,
Yeah.
straight up. Who can keep you on.
Yeah,
send
and
you
that's
off
the
in the
biggest
right
part of all
direction.
this. And I've said this a billion times. Like, you know what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. If you can't get yourself to do it, maybe you need to get someone to help you do it.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, like nutritionists and stuff, you can get nutritionists that could come to you and be like, okay, we're going to go put you on a low-fat diet, which would be really not good.
Send you in the wrong direction.
Yeah. I don't know how many. You think there's still nutritionists that are doing that right now?
I don't know.
No, there are. I know there are, actually.
No shit.
They're out there, so you got to be careful of that. Check.
Next question. Last thing that I'm not going to draw it out, but you said you know what you need to do. And one time you said, imagine what your day would look like if you, like everything you did was you did the things that you knew you were supposed to do, kind of thing.
Well, the full statement is, if you wrote down tonight what you were supposed to do tomorrow, and then you did the things that you were supposed to do, imagine how that day would feel, and imagine what you'd get done in that day.
Yeah.
And then imagine if you did that every day for a week.
Yeah.
And then imagine if you did that every day for a month, and then you did it for a year. And imagine where your life would be. Your life would be in a completely different trajectory. Completely different.
Yeah.
And that's true with working out. That's true with nutrition. That's true with business. That's true with education. That's true with knowledge. It's true with everything.
Everything.
So we kind of know what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say some people don't know what to do. And that could be the case. Some people, they've never worked out before.
Yeah.
And if you're a person that's never worked out before, you probably need to bring someone into the game that's going to help show you how to work out. If you've never done any reading about eating and you have no idea what's going to be good for you, you're probably a person that might need to bring someone into the game to help you get over that.
Yeah, and it still completely goes with exactly what you said. It's like you know what to do, and even to help that, you know what not to do. Like when you're about to make a decision, I'm going to do this or not do this, like you know which one is you should or shouldn't do. So let's say I don't know anything about working out, but I know I have to get in shape. We all know, we all know when we got to get in shape. So
then you got to hire somebody.
You got to do something. You know that you
Tomorrow.
shouldn't just be like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it. I don't know. I'm not going to do it.
Things to do tomorrow. Get a trainer.
Yeah.
Join a gym. Get a trainer.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. Okay, this is what you could do. Find out what to do. There you go.
Exactly.
Then in that case. So yeah, it makes sense. Sometimes when you put things in, just say stuff. Just put it on the table. It just starts to make sense. Next question. I'm a veteran of the infantry. And when I took over a fire team, for the first time, I made the mistake of drawing hard lines in the sand. This immediately alienated members of that team that had been together for some time. I did not make that mistake again, and I definitely learned from my experience.
So clearly there's not a question there.
Yeah.
And I forget pulling this out from, I get a lot of emails and messages and all that, but I thought it was a good point to bring up to say, this idea of drawing hard lines in the sand and what that does to your leadership position. It's a difficult, it's usually not a good thing to do. If you draw a lot hard lines in the sand and eventually you realize that they're either unrealistic or people can't maintain them, you've set yourself up for failure.
What is that exactly, like drawing lines?
So it's like, no matter what, we will not.
Gotcha.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, there's the line.
No matter what,
Got it.
we will win every single road march that we do as a fire team in this while we're here on this training thing. Okay. Well, guess what? That's hard.
Yep.
There's some other fire teams that are also want to win. And so you've drawn a hard line to sand. That's not really a good example. A good example is like, no matter what, we're going to muster every morning at 4:30 in the morning. No matter what. And then the guys are out on patrol until 2:38 in the morning, and now the next morning you're good no matter what. I said no matter what. Well, it's not good for them. It's unrealistic. So you drew a hard line in the sand, and now you got to back it down. So, and all you have to do is soften the statement a little bit. Hey guys, to the best of our ability, if we can, we're going to get here every morning at 4:30 for muster. There's a little room to play there, right? And that's fine. So again, there's not a question here, but one of the reasons I think that I wanted to talk about it was because I think people look at me and even hear me on a peripheral level and they think, oh, I bet Jocko just laid down the hard lines.
Sure.
And it's my way or the highway, right?
Yeah.
And the opposite is actually true. And the reason that I came to that conclusion was because I worked for leaders like that, and I hated working for leaders like that. So I tried to never be a leader like that. And there's a dichotomy, right?
Sure.
There's a huge dichotomy. Because this doesn't mean that you're not driving and pushing. This doesn't mean that you're not saying, hey, we're going to be the best whatever, we're going to be the best task unit here. It doesn't mean you're not saying, hey, look, we're not going to rest until we've done what we're supposed to do. It doesn't mean that. But man, you got to find that balance.
Yeah. It does feel like that with you. That you're like, it feels like that, but my experience obviously is we're under no like extreme circumstances,
right?
But just like the simple stuff. Like it really does seem like you wake up at 4:30 in the morning every single morning, do or die.
Well, 100%. That I do. Unless like there's sometimes where I get home at, like I remember a little while ago, I got home at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's basically my cutoff zone. If I'm getting less than 4.5 hours of sleep, then I'll be like, oh, yeah, and I'll wake up and I've been like, hey, I only got 2.5 hours of sleep last night. That's not enough. I'm going back to bed.
Right. That's what I mean. Where
I've tweeted that out before.
Yeah, I know.
I'm too tired.
I get. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's like when that happens, it almost like it catches you off guard. When you did that. I mean, obviously not like, oh, Jocko's not as strict. It's not that feeling at all. It's just kind of like, oh, dang. You do have that flexibility when it's the correct thing kind of thing.
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, you're not a slave to your rigidity.
Well, what you're saying is I don't draw hard lines in the sand. Taking it back to the question.
Yes, exactly right.
But it's real easy to go down the slippery slope of like, well, I actually didn't eat real good yesterday, so I probably need some more sleep to recover today.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's a rest day, so I might as well turn on the TV. Oh, you know what would be good with TV? Maybe some popcorn. Oh, you know what would be good with some popcorn? Maybe some cheese sticks and some M&Ms. It's a rest day, right? Yeah.
Going down
the
wrong path.
It's slippery. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I guess the opposite of the path is the slippery slope.
Yeah, exactly right. Next question. Hi. Scenario.
That's actually a legit way to think of it too.
Yeah.
if it's a legit way to think of things, if you're on the path, when you know what the path is, as we talked about with Tim Ferriss, if you're on the path, which you know, well, when you step off the path, it's a slippery slope.
Yep, big time.
Off the path is a slippery slope. And what'd you just say? The popcorn can lead to cheat sticks, can lead to M&Ms.
Yeah.
That's the slippery slope right there.
Yeah. And sometimes you slip so hard that you just plunge deep off the path.
Yeah.
Fall off the wagon, land hard.
All right.
Scenario. My team leader's boss came to me and asked my opinion on my horrible team leader. Okay, so my boss's boss. One of my opinions. So what do I do? Praise him to make the team look good and maintain my relationship with the team leader, or tactfully tell the truth and build a relationship with the boss, with my boss's boss?
That's a good question, isn't it?
I think so.
And it's a really tough position to be in.
Yeah.
Because you have to be careful and you have to be balanced. And there's a couple things to think about. First of all, no one likes rats.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
No one likes rats. But at the same time, you kind of also have to think about what's best for the team. On top of, and kind of the opposite of no one likes rats is no one likes brown nosers.
No.
But at the same time, you have to build relationships up and down the chain of command. And one of the toughest things about this, and what you have to be so careful about, is that you don't know what kind of relationship the boss and the team leader have. You don't know. On one end of the spectrum, they could be friends. So if you say something bad about them, that's going right back to the team leader, and you're gonna have a hard time.
Worse position.
You're in a much worse position.
Yeah.
Also, they could be enemies, and supporting the team lead to the boss could actually make you look stupid, right? Make you look bad. And it's important to say here, is it the optics of like, I don't want to look bad? Is that what I'm talking about? Because that's what I just said. Like, it'll make you look bad. It'll make you look stupid. The reason that you're trying to look good is because you want to do a good job, because you want the team, because you want the mission to succeed. That's what's important. And you don't care. I don't care if I have to eat crow. I don't care if so I don't mind looking bad if it's for a good reason. I don't mind my ego taking a ding if it's for the right reason. But this could actually hurt the way I do my job, because now my boss's boss thinks I'm kind of an idiot. And so that means when comes time for promotion, even though I might be the best guy, I'm not getting promoted because I was the guy that was too blind to see that my team leader was an idiot. Yeah. So I would be very careful and fairly neutral in what I said, especially to start with, right? So, if the boss says, "Hey, how's that team leader doing?" My response would be like, "Oh, we get the job done." That's so non-committal, right? Well, what about the team leader? Is he a good leader? I think he's got a pretty good hold of what's going on, right? So there's room to interpret that in any direction, really. Yeah. I think he's got a pretty good hold, or I think he's getting a hold of what's going on. Or another one would be, well, hey, how's your team leader? Well, I think our performance kind of shows where we're at. Right? So you're not giving away, and those are like I said, those are subtle and those are very open things that you could respond to, and I think the more your boss probes, or the more the team leader's boss is probes, the more you could open up a little bit, still with caution, but as you see what the boss's opinion is, you could open up a little bit more and share a little bit more of the truth very tactfully, or you could go in the other direction, right? If he says, "Oh, that's my best guy, and I've known Bill forever. Yeah, I brought him here, and he's going places." So are you going to derail that guy? You can, but you're probably going to derail yourself too. Yeah. Because that guy has a legitimate relationship with him. So that's a tough situation, and I would say the best thing to do in this situation is remain as neutral as possible. And again, you know what? There's someone that's listening to this right now that's going, "Oh, Jocko's kind of a wimp. And if I was there, I'd just tell the truth. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happens. Because I've been in that situation more times than I can count, where my boss was kind of an idiot, and I get asked by his boss, hey, how's this guy doing? So let's say you rat him out. Well, does that mean that the boss gets fired immediately? No. It just means that your team is less respected. It means that you get less support. It means, and if you do get ratted out, by the way, where do you end up now? You end up in a bad situation where your boss knows that you ratted him out to his boss. You're hated.
Yeah.
You're hated. So I want to win. Let's go back to that point. I want to win. So does it help me win if I rat out my boss or if I rat out my team leader to my boss? Does it help me win? It could. It could if your boss happens to be completely aligned with what you're thinking. He also happens to have a replacement ready that's more squared away. That's another thing. You get rid of one bad team leader, now you get a new team leader. How do you know him? Who's that? Who is that person? Where'd they come from? The devil's, what is that saying? The devil you know is better than the devil that you don't know. So if I have a team leader that's not doing a good job, whose fault is that?
Mine.
Yeah. I can help my team leader, especially if my team leader is weak. I can help them become strong. I can help teach them tactfully, not stepping on their toes. I would rather than rat my team leader out up the chain of command, I would rather fix my team leader. I would rather help my team leader become better. Support them. And by the way, when you do support your team leader and they become better and now they do come up for a promotion, what do they know in the back of their mind? They know that you helped them. They know that you got them there. Guess who's getting promoted now? You are. Now, why am I so concerned about getting promoted? Is it because I want to outdo everyone else? No, that's not why.
Because you want to win.
Because I want to win. I want the team to win. And if I thought that you, Echo, would do a better job if you became team leader instead of me, I'd be like, hey, I appreciate it, but Echo would do a better job than me. He should be the team leader. So, and also, if you're real, this is what happens. If I'm really a person, this is what I'm getting at. If I'm really a person that really wants to get promoted and that's my main goal, I want to get promoted, that's my goal. What do I do with the team leader?
Rat him out.
I throw him under the bus. So that's the person that we all hate. Sure. The person that rats out the team leader, that says, oh, that guy's doing a terrible job, I do a much better job, and gets that guy fired, and now I get promoted. What do we all think of him? Yeah. We all think that guy's a turd. Now, as opposed to someone that says, you know what, our team leader's weak, needs help, needs support. I'm going to help him. I'm going to support him. I'm going to do the best I can.
Wait, are you saying to tell the boss this, or just have that attitude?
Yeah, to have that attitude. Like I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. Now, if we have a guy that's horrible, that's tyrannical, that does a horrible job, that abuses people, then we get to a situation where you say, you know what, boss, there's some problems.
Yeah.
So if you have that one, which doesn't really, well, this guy says horrible team leader. So if this is a horrible team leader that's irredeemable qualities, and it's negatively affecting the team, because he kind of makes it sound like make the team look good. So there's still a possibility that the team is doing okay, even though they have a horrible leader because they got such good troops. I would see that sometimes. A platoon has a bad leader, but there's great guys in there, and the platoon leader is smart enough just to be like, okay, I'm going to let them kind of run with it. Yeah. They'll be successful. Yeah. So my goal usually is to help the person above me in the chain. Well, it's always to help the person above me in the chain of command. Can you get to a situation where someone is so bad that it's negatively affecting the whole team and you can't win because of their position? Yes. Well, then you need to step up and do something about it and say something about it. Do it tactfully. Do it slowly. Don't overcommit to your statements early on, because if you do, you might say something that is out of line. So it's a tricky situation. There's no definitive answer. But you have to weigh these things out. Yeah. Generally, if you can help someone win, you're going to win. Generally, if you help someone win, you're going to win. If it's so bad that they're just bringing down the whole team and you cannot win with them in that position, you might need to say something.
Yeah, especially if everyone on the team kind of feels the same way. It's going to be a little bit easier to be like, hey, and be straight with it.
But even if everyone, if we have the gang mentality, right? Like, hey, man, the boss sucks. you know what? Team leader's horrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. Hey guys, you know what? We could sit here and complain about it, or we could actually try and like make him a better leader.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that? And then, because hey, we could try and get a replacement for him, but at least he listens to us right now, or whatever. You know, at least he understands the job. Hey, let's try and prop him up. Let's try and let's get rid of him, but let's get rid of him by teaching him a lot so he gets educated so he can move on and get promoted. And then we'll have a good relationship with him.
Yeah.
And then the team will get more support, and then we can do our mission better.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you kind of got to understand what makes him a quote unquote horrible leader,
for sure,
right?
For sure.
So like, what if I don't like him because I don't like his tie? I don't know. I don't like his hairdo. You know, I just don't like him. We don't come from the same side of the tracks. I don't know. Whatever the thing.
One of the things that would be like if the guy's arrogant, right?
Yeah.
The guy's arrogant. Well, how are we going to bring him down?
Yeah.
How are we going to bring? Well, how we not bring him down? Like bring him down from his job, but how are we going to bring down his ego?
Yeah.
How are we going to mellow him out? You know, and that could be a long project.
Yeah.
That could be a long project.
Yeah. So just like how you said, is it damaging the performance kind of thing?
Yes, that's the most important thing. What is our performance like?
Yeah.
Can we bring this guy around?
Yeah.
Good question. I'm sorry, there's no definitive answer, but at the same time, leadership is an art.
Yeah. And why did
it's an art and science, but it's an art.
Sure.
And this is a case where the artistic part is going to be more important.
Yeah. The dichotomy, art and science. Remember on Bloodsport how he called martial arts martial science? He called it martial science. The guy, what is his name? Sensei Tanaka. Come on, bro. Bloodsport. Van Damme.
Yeah, no, I know what the movie is.
Yeah, he called it martial science.
I'm not familiar with that. Too familiar. Even as a kid, I thought those movies were really cheesy.
Yeah, it was kind of cheesy.
Like
kinda
so,
made it
like
fun.
a lot of MMA. Well, I guess from my age, MMA guys. You know, I was into Bloodsport. You know,
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking Bloodsport was like legit. I don't know why.
I thought it was. Remember the part where the dim
I
off
thought
on the
Rocky.
bricks?
I thought Rocky was more legit.
Yeah,
Like,
Rocky was dope.
Yeah, I thought that Rocky was more legit than Bloodsport for me. Bloodsport seemed fake.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Right?
It just seemed extreme, I guess. Because plus, I think with Bloodsport, the rumors circulated that guy was real. Like, that was real, you know? And so you're like, oh, sure, it's a movie, cool. Made it fun, but it was real in real life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't say I hated Bloodsport, but like I haven't seen it enough to know that the guy referred to martial arts as martial science.
That was early in the movie when Van Damme's teacher.
You know, it's your typical movie, right? There's a guy, he's getting beat down or whatever. He goes through his training process. There's a montage, like in Team America World Police. There's a montage, training montage, and then he comes back and wins.
Badass.
There's like most of your fight movies.
Yeah,
you know,
then
montage.
He gets beat down early. You know, he trains, he becomes awesome, but then there's the arch enemy who's trained too, but still a bully, and he has to beat him. Same thing with Karate Kid.
But you're leaving out the montage part.
Yeah.
The training montage.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
You're the best. Or no, that's Karate Kid. You ever seen the movie Never Back Down?
No.
Okay, so you'll never watch this movie. It's
MMA, right?
It's MMA.
'Cause I remember when it came out.
Yeah. But it's basically Karate Kid.
Yeah.
It's literally like Karate Kid, but just MMA now. And a little bit more cheesy, maybe a lot more cheesy. I thought it was good though. I enjoyed it. I watched it more than once.
Doesn't he learn from a master jiu-jitsu guy or something?
Yeah, Brazilian guy who is played by an African guy. The guy on you remember Gladiator? You know Gladiator, right? Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
and the black guy in there, the African guy.
Vaguely.
Yeah, he the one. His main friend.
Yeah,
he's the guy, but he's a Brazilian guy.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't match because he doesn't have a Brazilian accent.
I was gonna say, how's his Portuguese accent?
No, still African, but. Nonetheless, on paper it might seem cool, but it came out kind of cheesy.
Oh.
I liked it though. They overemphasize like all the things, like he goes to the party and the party's just great. Yeah. Anyway, look into it. Nonetheless, yes, science and art, I dig it. You kind of have to. Back to the question. You have to kind of wonder why the boss is asking your opinion too. Is it just a general probe, like, hey, how you guys doing? How's the boss doing? Kind of like that, or is it we have some concerns about
Totally.
your team leader. What up? Kind of thing.
Yeah, and even that, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Because they could lead you down that path. Maybe
they're probing you.
Yeah, maybe
You know
the
what I'm
team
saying?
leader said, hey, you know what? I don't trust this guy.
Yeah,
See what he says about me,
Yeah.
right? And then you go in and you go, hey, I've heard some bad things about this guy. What do you think of him?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
tell you what, you're right. That guy's a turd.
Yeah.
A turd with ears. Yeah.
You guys used to say that
Yeah.
stuff. A lot of team guys say turd. That's
Yeah.
a team thing, huh?
I think it came from buds at some point.
Yeah.
It was you'd get called turds
Yeah.
quite a bit.
It's funny.
And then a person that was kind of maybe just not a very good individual would be a turd with
Yeah.
ears.
I never heard that one. It's good.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, they say doo-doo boy. Same thing.
Doo-doo boy?
Doo-doo boy, yeah. But obviously not in any kind of discipline setting.
We got one more question.
Yes. Next question. Last question. Jocko, I've been disciplined, working hard, and staying focused, but I've hit a run of bad luck, and I can't seem to get a break.
Well, first of all, you are lucky. Because if you're capable of working hard, then that's a blessing. That's luck. Because there's people all over the world that don't have the ability for any number of reasons. Many of those reasons being just bad luck, that they can't work. So right out of the gate, you're lucky that you can get up tomorrow and you can go to work. Now, you say you can't get a break. And maybe you're getting unlucky with your career or your personal life or your business. So what are you going to do? Are you going to give up? Are you going to surrender? Are you going to assume that because you didn't catch a break today, there's no way you'll catch one tomorrow or next week or next year? Are you going to leave it all to chance? Or are you going to do everything in your power to force luck your way, to create opportunity, to shift the hands of fate? And even then, if the break never comes, even if you roll across the finish line of life bruised and bloodied and empty-handed from the fight, at least you know that you went after it as hard as you could. And you gave life everything you had. And in the end, you might still be unlucky. That could happen. But I would much rather be an unlucky soul that fought until the end and died with my sword in my hand than an unlucky soul that submitted, bowed down, gave up, and surrendered. So stop waiting to get lucky. Stop waiting for a big break. Instead, be thankful. Truly thankful for what you do have. And go out there and fight and battle and brawl to make your own luck. And I think that's all I've got for tonight. So, Echo.
Yes.
Speaking of fighting hard.
Sure.
Is there anything you know about that can help us stay in the fight?
Stay in the fight. Continue fighting hard.
Check.
Sure. First thing you need to do is take care of your body habitus. I use that word wrong, but body habitus is like your habitat on your body. Anyway, take care of your body is what I meant, including but not limited to your joints. A lot more important than I thought from the beginning in the beginning. So how you do that is super krill oil. Jocko has super krill oil. Jocko has krill oil called super krill oil. Another supplement called Joint Warfare. These are good for your joints. Don't neglect them. That's how you stay in the fight. Straight up. Get them at originmain.com. Also, you want to increase your capacity and capability in the fight. Physically, mentally. You take a new product called Discipline. It's called Discipline. It's not discipline itself. It's called Discipline. Anyway, it's cognitive and physical enhancer. Force multiplier. Mental plus physical. The sum is greater than the parts. Anyway, originmain.com. That's where you get them. Really good. They also have gis and rash guards there at Origin Main. And they are all made in America. I don't know if you know this. It's a big deal. He does good work over there.
From the dirt to the shirt.
Yeah. The cotton is even grown in America. And that's very important. See what I did there? Yeah, gis, rash guards, compression gear, pants, compression pants, spats, all there. Also, or speaking of Origin, we have an immersion camp, Jiu Jitsu immersion camp. All levels of Jiu Jitsu are welcome to this, by the way. What about kids? Kids welcome to that one?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because
I don't think they have the capacity for kids there at the camp.
Shoot, they were asking me that. Interesting. Nonetheless, all levels, even if you don't have any jiu-jitsu at all. In fact, last time there was a group who didn't have, I think it was like, some didn't have any jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, no jiu-jitsu.
And it just went on the, like, you know, like some of the stuff you learn, if you don't have any jiu-jitsu, it's like, okay, that's not going to fit into my knowledge because you have no knowledge. So it's like, that's not, I don't understand this quite yet. You kind of got to know.
We did the fundamentals class for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even during, like, while it was going on, I had a group on the side of like a good 12 people, and we're just doing just the basic fundamentals.
No jiu-jitsu. Yeah, for sure. All levels. And by the way, if you're a beginner, yeah, that's cool. But also, if you're good, you'll also get some awesome training there.
Yeah, so everybody.
Great guys there.
Yeah, huge, good
and
spot.
And it's cool. Yeah, it's up in Maine.
Echo Lake. Are we on the Echo Lake this time again?
Oh yeah, we are on Echo Lake this year. Yeah, Echo Lake.
Layers.
Echo's got his own lake.
Sure. Echo Park, Echo Lake. Dang. Nonetheless, yeah. So, yeah, originmain.com. You can look and see all that stuff. And, if you want something, get something. If you want to come to the immersion camp, come to the immersion camp. I'll be there. Jocko, you going?
Yeah, I am.
You're so mad last time you couldn't do that. Your rib.
Yeah.
Your rib, right?
My rib was jacked.
Dang.
This year it won't be jacked.
No. It's all good, bro. You're the man. Either way. Also, for fitness gear, you want to vary up your workout? You want to implement new movements? Kettlebells? Do you do kettlebells? I know, Jocko, you do kettlebells. I know that. But that's the question.
Yeah, you do.
Mike Granchi, right? Mike, this guy, he's a brown belt or black belt, I forget, up in Carlsbad area. Anyway, I've known him for a long time. I used to work with his sister. I don't even know if he remembers that. But so watching, you know who Jeff Clark is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's under him. He hit me up. He's like, hey, I want to get into kettlebells now. He's like, I'm looking at the On It ones or whatever. Asking the advice. Here's the thing. I'm not an expert on the kettlebells, but I do know this. Don't get nuts with them. But don't go too light either, though. I bought a kettlebell for my daughter. She's 5 now. Mm-hmm. So it's just, it looks cool. It's like one of the little...
24 kilograms?
No. No, man. Anyway, the smallest one.
Yeah.
But when I picked that up, I'm like, no matter what fitness level I'm at, this isn't going to do much for me, so don't go too light, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nonetheless, get them from On It. Go onit.com/Jocko. There's some good stuff. A lot of options there. You think you're stuck in a boring Jocko workout. Super hard, but boring. You're going to fall off that wagon. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on who you are. But if you want to vary it up, go onit.com/Jocko. There's some good fitness gear. Also, when you're getting any of the books that we review on this podcast, I got them organized for you on jockopodcast.com. Click on the top books section. I think specifically it says books from Jocko Podcast. Got them organized by episode, including Rob Jones' Journey's journal, by the way. Pretty much anything that we're reading, I'm going to put it on there for access, easy access. And it happens to support, takes you to Amazon, boom. Get your book. 2-day delivery, 1-day delivery, 8-hour delivery sometimes. And, if you're going to do other shopping, continue on. Do you. Be you. Also, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. Stitcher. I already said Stitcher.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Whatever you listen to podcasts on, subscribe.
Yeah.
Seems obvious, right? Also, YouTube. If you are interested in the video version of this podcast, you want to see what Jocko looks like, if you care. You want to see what I look like, if you care. Which may be a little bit more of a thing because apparently I don't sound how I look. I still get that, by the way.
Yeah. No, I just talked to a guy about it the other day.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
That'll never go away, huh?
Nope.
Until everyone has seen me. No one sees me. Anyway, if you are interested in that, YouTube video version of this podcast. Also excerpts. Take little chunks out of the podcast and post them so you can share them so they don't have to listen to 2.5, 3 hours of a whole podcast to get one lesson. One specific lesson.
That's on the YouTube channel.
On the YouTube channel.
And you just made a new video.
I did, yeah. I'm making more videos now.
Time is running out.
Time is running out.
That's a
that
new
was
video.
An important one. So I'll choose little excerpts or whatever to be like, you know what, this one to me hit harder. This little message that you said. And that one was, because it is one of those ones, because you know how the old saying where it's like, yeah, we know we had to have a limited time on this earth, but we don't act like it kind of thing, that whole thing. And really, when you think about that, that's more true than I think most people realize. And, that's why people go through like midlife crisis, right? You know how they hit a certain age and they're like,
get my ear pierced and get a Corvette.
Yeah, I gotta get it back. I don't know. It's that scrambling situation, You're trying to scramble to get more in. But, there's going to come a time you can't do that.
There's a little old school footage in there, in that video.
Yeah.
Too. If you want to see me when I was, I don't know, like 13 or 14.
Sure.
Maybe. Yeah, I was probably 14. I'm going to guess 14.
Bronson's Children.
Was
that Bronson's Children, though?
Bronson's
that was straight up it. Because you went through phases, right?
Yeah,
because you were somebody else.
It would be hard to identify fully the actual, because we had a bunch of different names. One of the names of the band was Rage of Discipline.
Rage of Discipline.
Rage of Discipline.
Wait, it was never Disciples of Discipline.
No,
is that
it was
something
not.
else?
It was not Disciples of Discipline. It was Rage of Discipline.
Yeah.
And it was struggle. It was lock and load, which is really militaristic for someone that wasn't in the military to be like, my band's called Lock and Load. I realize how cheesy that is now.
No, it's pretty dope, actually.
Well, I don't know. But anyways.
Rage of Discipline's real military-ish. See, Brad, you were even before.
Yeah,
like,
no,
this whole
that's what the guy you got the video footage from, Elgin James, when he comes on the podcast, he's like, yeah, I'm going to tell people. I actually just, spoiler alert, because he's like, I can't wait to tell everyone that you had a band called Rage of Discipline when you were 14 years old.
I know, yeah.
And I was kind of laughing about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
but yeah, there it is.
You were in the making from the beginning.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But, also, I also look back and think, well, man, I did some dumb stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get a handle on the discipline till later, but, the seed was there. Yeah. Like a little rattlesnake. You know how they say they're the most dangerous because they can't control the venom. They don't have the discipline.
Oh.
But they want the discipline. That's what I think.
That's what I was like, a little rattlesnake.
Yes.
Interesting.
You're right. Nonetheless, you can see these videos on YouTube.
Well, the video's a cool video. Yeah.
Thanks, Jocko.
Good job, Echo Charles.
Thanks. Try to do more videos. Also, Jocko has a store. It's called Jocko Store. This is where you can get Discipline Equals Freedom shirts. There's that word again, discipline. Iconic one. Also, rash guards on there. Women's stuff on there. Hoodies on there. Beanies. Here's the thing. The beanies have a little bit more of a process. But they're being approved. And, there's going to be some beanies on there. New shirt is out.
Just in time for summer. Good job.
Just saying. Hey, man, they're
Good
there.
job.
You know.
They'll need them down in Australia and New Zealand
Yeah.
for the summertime down there.
Yeah.
The southern hemisphere.
Yeah. In Hawaii.
You're wearing a new shirt today.
That's right.
Is this out?
Back to the book. It's out.
It's out. It's available.
Thing is, I didn't say anything. I just kind of snuck it on there. So some people got it.
So it's live.
It's live.
Okay.
Been live for a day.
Back
or
to
two.
the book.
It's back to the book. It's actually good. The front of it has a book. On the back has all the titles that you've reviewed.
Oh.
It's a good one. Anyway,
Cool.
if you want to see what that looks like, jockostore.com. If you want something, get something. It's a good way to support. Also, Psychological Warfare. If you don't know what that is, it's an album with tracks that each track is engineered. It's not music tracks, Jocko tracks. Engineered to help you through any moment of weakness that you may stumble upon or that might stumble upon you. Actually, you shouldn't say stumble upon you because that kind of gives the ownership to like, oh, it happens to me. You know what I mean? If you hit weakness, you hit the weakness. Like you stumbled on the weakness. You can't blame the weakness. You blame you. See what I'm saying?
Check.
So any moment of weakness that you happen to stumble upon, there's a track for that. Procrastination, waking up early, the diet stuff, falling off the diet wagon. You want to eat some donuts because they're free at work. It's wasteful if you don't eat them. It's disrespectful to the person who bought them.
No.
And you're going to eat them. That's weak. Stay on the path. And if you need a little spot, Psychological Warfare, you can get it on iTunes, Amazon Music, various, wherever you can purchase MP3s, boom, get it from there. Psychological Warfare. It's a good one. Good way to support too, by the way.
Good way to support. Also, if you need some more support, you can get Jocko white tea. And I've got some bad news and good news. Bad news, they've started testing for Jocko white tea. So they started testing. They're worried. You know, they see guys just dominating, and they're thinking they're probably on Jocko white tea. Yeah. The good thing, that's the bad news. Good news is, doesn't matter. Can't test for it. All natural. It's all natural. No one can believe that a fully natural substance can raise any human being's deadlift to 8,000 pound minimum. But there it is.
It is.
Factual. Factual. Books. All right, books. You can get some books. Way the Warrior Kid. This is the book for kids. The book for kids. See the feedback. Go on social media. Go on Twitter. Go on Facebook, Iboha, and see kids studying, see kids doing pull-ups, see kids doing jiu-jitsu, see kids getting after it. That'll tell you right there. So many parents have said, I can't believe my kid now wants to study. They post little pictures of kids making math flashcards. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Imagine if you get your kid to do math flashcards voluntarily. Boom. So that's what I'm talking about. And now there's Way the Warrior Kid 2, Mark's Mission. In this book, Uncle Jake teaches young Mark, and he really teaches the rest of us, how to control his temper, how to work hard, how to be frugal and smart with money. There's a little entrepreneurial activity in the book. He also learns how to take care of his gear. He learns how to save his money. He learns how to deal with insults and with verbal abuse, and he learns to overcome his fear of failure. That's a lot to learn in one book.
Yeah.
But it's there. Yeah. The lessons are there. And it's done in a simple, clear way that only Uncle Jake knows how to do. And speaking of entrepreneurial warrior kids, don't forget about Aiden. Young Aiden. He's only 12 years old, but he has a business. He's making soap from goat milk, from goats on his farm. And he's not just making any soap. He's making good soap. He's making Jocko soap. Mm-hmm. You can order it at IrishOaksRanch.com. And the motto, which I thought of, not giving Aiden any credit for this. He didn't think of this motto. Mm-hmm. I thought of the motto. Mm-hmm. The motto is, stay clean. So yeah, get yourself some Jocko soap. You can also get a book called The Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual, and that's another book. The feedback is awesome. People that get that book and they get on the path. They get stronger, healthier, smarter, more disciplined. They get better, and they live a better life. And that's awesome to hear. So if you or someone you know needs to know how to get on the path and stay on the path, then the field manual is for them, and it'll help them do just that. And for the audio version, it's not on Audible, because then you can't have an album with tracks. The audio version is on iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Play, other MP3 platforms. So if you want the audio version, get that. Also, obviously, there's a book called Extreme Ownership. It is combat leadership. These are the lessons that we learned in combat, translated into leadership principles for business and life. And you know what? Still on the Amazon charts right now. Is number 17 on all Amazon charts for books read or something like that. So yeah, you got to dig that. It's still selling. And also, announcement, just went over 1 million copies sold. Yeah, which is pretty legit. So thanks everyone for doing that, for buying some books, some copies of the books. And by the way, you don't sell 1 million copies of a book on just hype. And we didn't do it through paid advertising, which I don't even know if you could do it through paid advertising. The book sells because of the word of mouth. So everyone that listens to this podcast, buys the book, spreads the word, gets it for other people. You're the reason that book is selling so well still. So thank you all for spreading the word, telling people, get it for them, get it for their team, up and down the chain of command, Extreme Ownership. Pick it up. Furthermore, Echelon Front, that's my leadership and management consulting company. We solve problems through leadership. That's what we do. And that is how all problems get solved, through leadership. So it's me, it's Leif Babin, it's JP Donnell, it's Dave Burke. You can email info@echelonfront.com, or you can go to the website echelonfront.com. And of course, we are approaching the muster. This is the most dynamic leadership conference ever, of all time. Tickets are selling. We've already kind of expanded the floor in the location that we have in DC as much as we can to accommodate more people. But I'm telling you, it's going to sell out. We're only doing 2 musters this year. One is in Washington, DC, May 17th and 18th. And one is in San Francisco, October 17th and 18th. So come, learn, hang out, get your pragmatic leadership skills. And also, it's important to know that there's no green room. There's no backstage. We'll be there hanging out, answering questions, talking, eating, working out, and hanging out with everyone that shows up. So join us there. You can register at extremeownership.com, and also on extremeownership.com, there's a document that we put together. So some people, they want to come to the conference. They need to run it up their chain of command. And they kind of say, what should I say up my chain of command? I want my chain of command to pay for it, which is awesome. And the chain of command should pay for it, because they're going to get back a much better leader in their organization. But we put a document on there. You can click on the link, the little, what's that? The little link. I guess it's called a link.
Sure.
It's called Creating Leaders at Every Level. And that's also on extremeownership.com. We'll see you there. We'll see you at the muster. And until we do see you at the muster, you can find us interacting and conversing and cruising on the interwebs, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on that Fustabo Hockey. Echo is at Echo Charles, and I am at Jocko Willink. And thanks to those of you out there in uniform around the world, on foreign lands, in the sky over our heads, and on and under the high seas, protecting us from the evil of the world. Thank you. And thanks to police and law enforcement, to the firefighters and paramedics, and all of you first responders. Thanks for taking care of us and our families when we need it most. And to everyone else out there, the nurses and the doctors working all hours to heal us, and the teachers trying to educate our youth, and the guys hanging drywall and pouring concrete and roughing in plumbing and electrical, and the farmers growing crops and the factory workers building products and the fishermen and the lobstermen and the longshoremen and the bankers and the advisors and the salespeople and the waitresses and the cooks and the dishwashers. To all the men and women across the land in every job and every capacity that show up every day, thanks for listening to us. And thanks for doing your job and doing it well and doing it with pride. And thanks for working hard to make your own luck and to make your part of the world a better place by going out there and getting after it. And so, until next time, this is Echo and Jocko. Out.